What's going on today? We have Mr. Jon Howell in the building, or in his building. Super excited to have him. Just gonna talk about a couple of things when it comes to physical health and also purpose. And so today, I really want Jon to be able to share his story and inspire some of you that are trying to pursue your purpose and you're trying to figure out exactly what that thing is and how it can benefit others. So I'm not going to steal too much of your thunder, Mr. Jon Howell. So basically, I want you to be able to share your story and tell us how did you find your purpose and how did you know what your purpose was?
Okay. First of all, thank you very much, Mr. Jones, for having me. Glad to be here and to share. You know, purpose is a big, huge word
Yeah.
that, oh my goodness, from the prospect of being 21 years old, it's amazing to think that people are finding their purpose so early in life.
Yeah.
For me, it was not so easy a task. But when you get to this age and you look back over your life, when I look at myself as a young person, maybe 12 years old, I think about the things that I used to do, like wanting to ride my bike about 3 miles to the local college, which was Cal Poly Pomona, and go to the gym and work out,
Hmm.
knowing that there's very likely some coach is going to say, "Get out of here, kid! You can't work out in our gym." And we would do that and go and work out. But just riding our bike on the campus was something. And then sometimes I would ride my bike for miles, maybe
Yeah.
12, 13, 14 miles both ways. Um, the physical feats of walking to a park. I would walk to a park which had hills, and it was really a physical ordeal, but it meant nothing to me. It was just like something to do to get there to do what you wanted to do, which
Right.
was more exercise generally. So when I think about my orientation to exercising long periods of time, I come to realize that even though I wasn't very good in sports, I liked to play. I was very competitive. Um, and I would just play, and I always thought that we could win. It didn't make a difference what the team was. I thought we had a shot at it.
Yeah.
And I remember playing so many times. I used to play against my little brother, and somehow he was just a winner. He would always find a way to win. Sometimes I would even have maybe the best team, but we wouldn't win because I failed to realize this one thing. It's not always about the strongest or the fastest or the most skilled player that wins the game. My brother understood utilizing sometimes the weakest, the most unlikely character can come in there and win the game in the nick of time. And
Yeah.
it happened over and over again. And I didn't realize that then, but now I understand what's going on. And that spoke to me. Well, um, at about 18, I joined the military. And I was the type of person, I would go through something, but I would be like a bee on the wall or a fly on the wall, observing everything that was going on. I
Mhm.
see all these different people of different sizes, strengths from different places. And usually they have some little tiny drill instructor. In my case, it was a little white, frail looking drill instructor with good posture. And he's shouting and screaming down at people. And I'm like, this guy better back off or we're going to get him. But they had some type of system that you just did not challenge these guys.
Yeah.
And the way that they were able to turn in maybe 50 some odd people into being some very courageous men willing to run into the barrel of a loaded gun because you were fearless. I took note of the methods that they used and how they went about going about doing it, not knowing that I would one day use some of those methods to help people overcome fears. That was a part of building me up to what I would become. And I read religiously. Also, prior to that, I was studying to become a minister.
Okay.
And one of the things that I was really passionate about was how do you persuade a person to change their mind?
Mm.
And I studied lots of things, books like this, and I continued to read the Bible and other books, books about persuasion, books about change, psychology. Um, and I started merging all those different uh, fields of interest
Hmm.
together. And when I became a certified personal trainer, I didn't even use it for a while. I might train a few of my wife's friends. And then one day I was at a gym working out and I was doing some crazy stuff, all the stuff that I had been learning, putting it all together. And I saw a lady in the gym with me. She was on her back doing a chest press with two 10-pound weights. And she was pretty hefty.
Hmm.
And I looked at her and I said, "Man, what are you doing?" And she says, "I'm trying to lose weight." I said, "Well, ma'am, you're not going to lose weight that way."
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm here and I'm trying." Now, most people would have been offended by the comment that I made, but this lady was serious about what she was doing. And I said, "Well, why don't you join me and see?" "Well, okay, you seem like you know what you're doing." So we had a great workout. And after that, she said, "I couldn't do very good, but after a while, I think I could be okay. Can you train me? Because you seem like you're a trainer." I said, "Well, I'm a trainer, but I'm not a trainer at this gym, and I'm not allowed to train here."
Hmm.
And she said, "Well, I know the owner pretty good. I'll ask him, and I'm sure he's going to let you train me." So she asked me, and the guy surprised her. He says, "No, he can't train here. However, if he will train my guys in MMA, conditioning, mixed martial arts, I'll let him train whoever he wants." And that's how I got started.
Wow.
And her goal was to lose 50 pounds in 6 months, 6 months, and she did it. The interesting thing about her was, and it was a goal, and I love people with purposes.
Mm.
Um, Her goal was simply to stop winning the top salesman of the year at her job because she was a pharmaceutical sales rep,
Okay.
making really good money. And she said, "I'm so tired of being this big, fat, black chick that's always winning, carrying my sashaying my big old self up there to get the award. I don't want to do that anymore. Can you help me?" I said, "I can help you." Uh, Unknown to her, my belief is God specializes.
Yeah.
And regardless of what my client's situation is, God knows exactly what to do. And He has all power. And He can help anybody that He brings towards me. And that's my philosophy. They don't have to believe in God, they don't have to like God. And I'm not going to preach God, but I'm going to be praying. And there are people that are praying for the success of what I do. And that's the hidden agenda, is that people will come in contact with the power of God. They
Wow.
will develop more love for themselves, more love for their body. They will appreciate and enjoy working with others. Most people come to me as a personal trainer, but I usually try to push them into the group, which is where the power is to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
You know, I can be an engaging, interesting guy, but after about 3 or 4 weeks, like, "Oh, John, you're doing the same thing. You're saying the same stuff," And when you see five, six, 3 or 4 different people with different fitness levels
Yeah.
doing some really outrageous stuff, it's kind of motivating. And
Yeah.
I like that. And that allows me to back off and I can just listen. And mainly, I'm just trying to keep the people motivating each other. You're going to find people like my friend Cefalo. He's he's the guy that likes to do things right. I mean, if I told him how to do it right, I only have to tell him once, and he's going to be careful. It's at that point, he's more interested in everybody doing everything right than he is getting his own workout in,
Yeah.
which is awesome. And so I don't really have to be the police always correcting somebody. And then there are others that specialize in being very motivating and encouraging. And so it's an awesome situation that I'm in. I've got the power of God upgirding me and leading people to me. And then I've got people with their own sets of gifts helping others to become their best person.
That is amazing, and you hit on so much in those couple of stories, especially being able to have other people. What you said really was you create an environment for greatness.
Exactly. That's what I try to do. And the amazing part is the crazy stuff. I love Alabama A&M, which is the Student Fitness Center. If you've been to any fitness center in the city of Huntsville, you've seen some that are worse, certainly, and you've seen some that are better. Um, but when you look at the variety of pieces of equipment that we have, we don't measure up on some level. And so I don't look at it as the creme de la creme gym of Northern Alabama,
Yeah.
but it's a place where you can get some crazy good results. And so I'm just amazed because my methods are kind of leaning towards military-ish, kind of military, um, kind of hard nosed. And so that scares some people. And in fact, I've had some trainers will actually steer people away from me. That guy's crazy. I mean, he thinks everybody's going to join the Marines, and I don't. Um, but God then does the craziest thing. He took a woman who had three normally fatal types of cancers. And according to this woman, she's a pastor's wife, he tells her, "You go train with Jon." She had already been told by the previous trainer, "Don't train with him." All of her girlfriends were like, "I ain't training with that crazy man. He's screaming and shouting and stuff." And she says that she's so serious. God told me, listen, God told me I'm to train with you. And I'm looking at me like, yes, I am certainly an undone type of trainer that has much to learn, and I don't know anything about the different cancers that this woman has. So I had to go online, I had to study, I had to ask her, and she showed me different things. Um, so it was a little bit interesting. That's one person. Then another person, I get a call from a daughter. The daughter tells me, "Mr. Howell, my name is such and such, and I've been referred to you by the marketing director of the Student Health and Wellness Center. And she told me that you can work with anybody." I said, "Well, I like to think of myself as a generalist,
Hmm.
but, and I like to think that God can help me do just about anything. But I can't work with anybody. Who is it that you'd like me to work with?" "I'd like you to work with my mother." I said, "Okay, fine. Well, here's the problem. My mother is 66 years old, and she's lost a lot of weight, and she only has one leg.
Mm.
She's had a really bad fall, and I want you to work with her." I said, "Well, that's absolutely wonderful. I'm willing to work with her. But here's the catch. I'm not working with anybody who doesn't call me.
Mm.
I'm not going to call her. If she's interested, unless you're going to take her to the gym, are you going to be carrying her to the gym?" "No, I live in Montgomery or Mobile." "Okay, well, she needs to call me and tell me that she's interested, and then we'll have an interview and find out what her desires are. I do really appreciate your interest in your mother, um, but it's going to take more than your interest.
Yeah.
She's going to have to make a decision." And when she calls me, I'll do everything I can to get her on the path. And she says, okay, she will call you. I think about a day or so later, she does call me and we get started. The first day, which I love it, God really is so dramatic. It was a rainy day. And I usually don't like to go the extra mile on the first day. I usually like to be a little standoffish. And I know that she had one leg, so she was on the prosthesis and she was with a cane and it was raining. I was in the lobby. I saw her when she was coming and I stayed right there. And I watched her walk in the drizzle like type rain because I wanted her to really see just how much she wanted this. She could have turned around and said, oh, it's raining. I don't want to slip and fall. And, God called her, I'm thinking, so God's going to protect her. She makes it to the door and we have the conversation. And I'm telling her about people that have gone on before her. It's always never about me. It's about the people that have had success in the program before.
Wow.
And I tell her, I just believe God can do anything. What do you think? I think he can. That's why I'm here. And so later I took her to the swimming pool and I asked her, can she swim? She said, no, I can't swim. And she has one leg. I said, well, we're going to get across that pool. And she's looking at that pool. And she's just like, and I asked her, how are you going to get across the pool? And she said, I don't know. I said, if you had a cup and a spoon, could you get across that pool? And she said, no, I can't, because I can't swim. I told her, ma'am, if you can take that cup and every day take that cup, you can empty that pool after a while. And I know it sounds kind of crazy,
Mm-hmm.
but Lanita Slayton, we can do anything if we're willing to take one step at a time. She made it across the pool, and I had her racing against a person with a stroke that had a stroke. She lost, but she did make it across the pool. She's done amazing things. She recently passed during the uh, COVID-19, but she's just a phenomenal woman. She was able to do something that she didn't know that she would be able to do. She was so busy trying just to put on a little weight. She started at like 98 pounds, got her up to 130 pounds, 128. Was able to attempt to do pull-ups, really do a whole bunch of push-ups. She's just an amazing woman. But her happiness was when she was able to join the food bank, the soup kitchen at her church, St. John's AME, and she was able to feed the hungry. She was able to take the attention off of herself and onto others. And oh, she was so happy. I tried to tell her, now, ma'am, I need you at the gym. And she said, well, I won't be there on Tuesday. So she was something else, but she's just an amazing woman and very encouraging, a real can-do type of person.
Wow.
Lots of different stories. I mean, there are literally probably hundreds of stories that people were able to, experiences they were able to have because of the others that were around, because of God working through others and not simply the trainer. And I have to say, Alabama A&M, oh my goodness. You see, that school is amazing because it was originally founded by a person who was sold into slavery on the very grounds that the school operates on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he somehow got his freedom, came back to the very place where he was sold in. I looked at the very bell where he was sold into slavery. He came back and started what was to become Alabama A&M. So it's a place where miracles have happened.
Yeah.
And it's a place where miracles, I believe, will continue to happen because God is still at work with those that believe they can do anything when they place their hand in His.
Jeez. That is so powerful. And the overview, the thing that I see is that God used one man finding his purpose and driving the, to encourage, to empower, to embrace people that are trying to find something, you know, because
Mhm,
what I see is that while you give people what they want, which is physical healthiness, you give them what
mhm,
they need, which is that inner peace, that inner joy.
mhm,
And that is what I like. This is exactly what I believe legacy is. It's when you do what you're supposed to do in the earth, but because you've chosen to do it, now people around you, people that you've encountered, now they get to live a life that they would have never lived if they never encountered
mhm. Wow, that's kind of interesting.
you.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I like purposes when people come with a purpose that's beyond. They might come with a purpose like I want to lose some weight to get in a dress
Yeah.
for a wedding. And one of the most beautiful things that a woman has told me, and I remember things that people say, especially if they're very destructive or constructive.
Mm-hmm.
It was a day that she was supposed to pay. I remember like yesterday her turning around and handing me her payment. And someone was saying, "Well, what can you say about John?" "Oh, John, he might be a little crazy, but he has a way of getting in your head and having you believe you can do anything." And I don't believe it's really me. I believe it's God working in the environment. But that's my goal is to really put a seed into somebody's head
Mm.
that they can accomplish great things
Yeah.
through God's. So it's not just about doing great things, it's doing great things through the power of God.
Yeah.
One of the worst and the best compliments I can have is when somebody, it only happened twice, and Schofield was one of those. They call him Jon Howell Jr. It's a compliment, but it's not a compliment because we want to encourage people to be themselves. He
Yeah.
doesn't try to be me, but he follows the rules so much they try to slam it and say Jon Howell Jr. But
Mm.
it's really a compliment because he's trying to do the program. But I encourage people to be who they are. Um, so that's the thing, about it is you're not going to be the best group you can be if you've got everybody trying to be like you.
True.
Strength and the power of a group is in the individuals utilizing the gifts that God has given them and utilizing the gifts that they've cultivated. Failure to use who you are is really a slap in the face of God to me.
I believe that's so true. And brother, as you were sharing your story, it was like the scripture says, like I want you to prosper as your soul prospers. So as John, he was developing you on the outside and he was working with you outside on the outside. God was still working with you on the inside and through all those things, that you had been through. And again, this is why I believe it's so important, especially for you guys that's on the Zoom right now, and hopefully for those of you that watch this video later. When you're in your purpose, you can withstand those people. So many people believe that in order to be powerful, like with God's presence, that you have to be in the church or in the pulpit. Come on now. You could be at the gym and receive the same Holy Spirit, receive the same presence of God and get so like healing in every area of your life because God is not just concerned about your church attendance. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just wanted to take just a moment to really bring that forward to like really when you living out your purpose is so much bigger than just that title or just that job. This is your
Mm-hmm.
life's work. And if that's what God called you to, I promise you, he's not just going to let you be there for no reason.
Right, right. Yeah, that's amazing. My experience with personal training is that God uses it powerfully to demonstrate what he tries to do with us. You know, I work with people every day, and just about every day the complaint is, well, can we do this? They come to me to help them, and then they try to tell me how to help them. You know, we pray to God, help me, and then we tell God how we want God to help
Yeah.
us. God knows it all, and he doesn't need our help or our recommendations on how we need to be helped.
Yeah.
If we would just do what he asked us to do, we would get so much more results.
That's so true.
But that I cannot force people to do what I ask them to do. So
Mhm.
I will have a person on reasonably for 5, 6 years, and they're still benefiting because they're not listening to what I'm asking them to do. But it's a hard concept to get to do, and just think about all the stuff that God asks us to do.
Right.
And belief is so amazing. The clients that have gotten the best results are those that believed I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
They squash their own belief about what they think is the way to go, and they say, I'm going to listen to what you say, and they get some great results.
That's so
And about our relationship with God, what if I would just listen to God more?
hmm Yeah.
What the do. So,
So I have just one final question for you. And the question is, when it like when it comes to your personal health, how has you being in your purpose, you working out, how has that affected your lifestyle over the long term? Because I have no idea how old you are with this picture on the screen. There is no way I can tell how old you are. You know, you're already through 48 out there. So, it's really amazing.
well, I'm a little bit over 60. I'm 60 months. I'm 60 in a few months.
Wow.
And I don't feel any different than when I was 30 or maybe sometimes 28 because I was wilding out then. But I feel pretty much the same. You know, my great physical feat is I like to challenge guys of any age from 15 to older to a game of 50 by ones in basketball. And most of the guys say, "Oh, that's crazy because you can't do it." Well, they know I can. They don't want to do it because it's so grueling.
Yeah.
But it happens not because I'm very athletic, but because I've been consistent over a period of time, and I probably have a low threshold for pain. So at least physical exercise pain. So that's the thing. The effect that it has had on me is my energy is really good. My memory could stand some improvement, but God has been really good to me, and I think exercise has a lot to do with it.
Wow, that is awesome. So for those of you out there, you're trying to figure out how to keep it going, how to keep your life strong. He said since he been feeling the same since he was 28. You got to stay healthy. It's just going to be so beneficial for you and your life, especially those of you want to do the work and the will of God. You have to have the strength to do it. You can't be sick all the time, and you have to have that stamina to be able to get out there and do what God has called you to do. Mr. John, I appreciate you being on this Zoom. It's been truly a blessing for me to actually be able to hear your stories and what you've come through.
Right. I just got my son just walked in. Um, yeah, he just walked in. So he's actually a nurse now, a travel nurse. He's taking a little break right now, but I'm so happy that he's here with me, and it's just a wonderful experience to have him here. And my wife, um, personal training is an awesome experience, and it's wonderful to be able to impact people's lives. I talked to one lady to close on this note, if you don't mind. She was coming late all the time. And I spoke to her and I said, you know, Monica, you just don't give me any respect. I know that if you were going to come late to the doctor, you would call them in advance or you would call the day before and say, I can't make it. But when it comes to me, your personal trainer, you just don't even show up. And she said, oh no, Jon, you're very important to me because if I lose all the weight that I can, I will be able to give my husband a son. She was from Ghana. And he wants a son so bad. And I said, okay, well, it will be good if you would show up because that's how you're going to get your results. Okay, Jon, I'm going to try to do better. So she would do better. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she quit coming. It was like 6 months. I was going in Walmart and she was coming back. And oh my goodness, she was as big as a house. And she says, Jon, I guess you know. I said, no, please, Jon, don't tell anybody because I want it to happen for sure. I'm pregnant. So she got pregnant. And she said, don't tell anybody. I'll let you know when it happens. Next thing I know, I'm looking on Facebook and I see the most beautiful, tiny little feet and 5 toes here, 5 toes there. And it's Monica with the feet of her baby. Miguel is his name now.
Wow.
And it was just a beautiful story. I guess he's probably around about 9 or 10 almost. But miracles happen, wonderful things happen, life happens through something as simple as personal training.
Yeah. It's been such an honor and a blessing to be here with all of you guys. And I can see how even from now on to the end, when you're done, like how many lives is really going to be impacted and changed. So again, I'm truly blessed. I really appreciate you being on the Zoom with me. And I hope sometime we can talk again.
Okay. And I hope to be beyond prosperous.
All right, y'all. I'll see y'all later.
God bless you. Thank you all for coming and watching.